I'm Johnny from Nothing More, and you're watching Rocknlive. Technically, so this is our first record on any label, because we've been independent up until now for years, and we had a few other records that we released independently, but we found, actually 11/7 found us. We were kind of DIY, do-it-yourself mentality for years and years and years, and we actually did showcases, about a year or two before 11/7 found us, and all these labels passed, and we're like, we're not signing rock bands, and we can't do anything with this band, and on and on. So we were like, screw it, we're just going to do it ourselves. So we just kept touring and building our own show and recording our own records, and we worked for about 2 to 3 years on this record. It was kind of we poured a lot of our life and heart and soul into it. And 11/7 somehow, I don't even really remember how they first heard about us, but somebody at the label heard and told Alan Kovac, and he started just banging the door down, calling us, saying, I want this band. And we didn't know who they were at all, and we did our research, and over time there was a bunch of other labels that got interested, and we met with all of them, and really 11/7 just stood head and shoulders above the rest because they were just so passionate, and that's all we cared about. We didn't care about a big name. You can always get money, you know what I mean? You can always get it if you need to get it from somewhere, but passion is something you can't really fabricate. It's hard to make this one short because I've known Mark and Daniel, the guitar player and bass player, since I was in 7th grade. So we've been playing together for pretty much our whole lives. And then I was the drummer all those years, and then I started singing, and so we were on the search for a drummer. And about 3 years ago, we found our drummer Paul, and he's from New Orleans, and we're from San Antonio, Texas. So he joined the band, and ever since then, that was kind of the missing piece of the puzzle. We wrote it all together, and we write the lyrics, the music. Everything we do is a group effort, and we moved into a house together, and my room was the control room. I had my bed, and I had a desk and speakers, and then Daniel, our bass player, his room was down the hall, and I had all the cables running out under my door going into his room, and he had his bed and then a bass cab and a guitar cab with mics just in there. So we had that set up, and then you go downstairs and we had a rehearsal room, and so we did everything just like we lived and breathed it for like 2 years. And just the cool thing is that we weren't on a label at the time, so we had no pressure. We could just experiment and do whatever we wanted, and so we basically just kept working on it until we felt like it sounded right. And because we didn't have money, we just had time. And so we used our time, and that's how we made it. I think we're all a little surprised by how quickly it's been happening. The last year, when we signed with 11/7, and all these other things fell into place after that as well. And globally, I've never been to Europe. This is my first time, not only to France but to Europe in general. So I think that the fact that we're already getting some reactions over here is pretty rad. But it's surprising. It's very exciting. Mr. MTV, that is basically, that title's just a personification of the corporation MTV, and we started that song with the Dire Straits intro, which was the Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free. That whole song was written back in the heyday of MTV, back when they played music videos all the time, and it was really about music television. And so we started with that as our intro for this song, as almost like a time capsule to look back on from the modern day today. What MTV is not about music at all. It's this reality TV show, bottom of the barrel, kind of like just bullshit. And so the whole song is kind of this reflection on what it's become, and on a bigger level about I think what drives corporate America specifically. I don't know how it is over here, but over there it's like fast food television kind of a thing. It's not good for you, but everybody wants to eat it. Sex and Lies was about, it wasn't about one person in particular. It was actually about a few experiences, and one of them specifically was one of my best friends got cheated on in a room that, like, right next to him at a party. Like, his girlfriend and him were at a party, and he gets cheated on. Like, she cheats on him in a room, like, right there, and he had no idea till later. And another one of my friends, he got stabbed in the back by this girl that was just really, we knew that as friends, you know how sometimes you're in those situations where everybody knows that this person that you're friends with is bad news, but they can't see it, you know, because they're just so enamored with love, or this idea of love. And so it's kind of about that whole situation, and kind of getting fucked over, you know. We write the song, sometimes the lyrics come first, sometimes the music comes first, or sometimes they just evolve together. And what we really try to do is like what they do in movies, where if it's a sad scene, they try to paint the scene with sad music behind it, or if it's an intense part, they try to have intense music. And we try to really line up the content of the lyrics with the feeling of the music. And so God Went North is a very heavy and sad, trudging kind of a song, and the music reflects that, you know. And I think the inspiration for the music of that one was really the experience that I went through watching my mom kind of get drugged through this long suffering of, she had a really bad cancer, and she was trying to hang on for dear life for her children, because we were still very young. And so the music really reflects that emotion, I think. And Jeer, that one was more of a contemplative, kind of conceptual transition point in the record. And there's actually, Jeer is actually like a whirlpool in the water. And I think the guy who's talking on that track is a guy named Alan Watts. And in many of his philosophical musings, he discusses how sometimes we view people or even things as these very concrete like things, when in reality they're changing at every moment. Like, they're just every cell in your body, every just everything's moving right now, you know. And so he said in this one talk that we're much more like a whirlpool. That, yeah, it's a shape momentarily. Like you can see that it's a form, and it kind of maintains that form just like we do as we age. But it's not a thing. It's just a formation that everything is doing. So we're all basically just like I'm a thing that the universe happens to be doing, just like this chair is a thing, you know, too. It's just a different thing, a different whirlpool. And so that's why the music is a little more melancholy. It's more contemplative. My sister's name is Jenna, actually, and my aunt's name is Jenny, and my sister was named after my Aunt Jenny. My mom, when she was younger, her and my aunt, which was my mom's sister, were out with their dad on Father's Day, and he was a pilot, so he had a little plane, and he'd take them up for rides and, you know, just fly around and whatever. And it was Jenny's turn to go on the airplane, and she had a friend with her, and she let her friend go first. She's like, no, you go. She was being nice. And so her friend went, and a helicopter came out of the clouds and clipped the wing when they were up, crashes right in front of them on Father's Day. And basically all of the kids, my mom, her brother, and her sister, saw their father just die right in front of their eyes. And ever since that experience, my Aunt Jenny, over the years, she lost her mind. I don't know if that experience did it necessarily, or if she was genetically predisposed, but she had a really bad case of schizophrenia, and she just checked out. Like, she's been in a home to this day. She hasn't been there. Like, she's gone. But her body's still here, and she, you know, functions. But my sister Jenna, my mom, I think, named her after my aunt as kind of this redemption for her sister that she felt that she lost. And my sister Jenna, kind of eerily enough, came out of the womb with the umbilical cord around her neck, and my mom thought she was going to lose her as a baby. They thought she lost too much oxygen, and she ended up making it. But as the years went on, my sister Jenna got addicted to really hard drugs, and was having some really intense bipolar disorder, and mental issues mixed with hard drugs, which is usually a bad cocktail. And this was all happening while my mom was dying of cancer. And so my mom was trying to hold on for dear life to be there as a mother for my sister. And it was probably the hardest, saddest struggle I've ever seen. But at the same time, it was an inspirational struggle, because I saw how powerful my mom's instinct was to fight for her daughter, to be there and get her through that hard time. So it was this mixed bag of being inspired and empowered, but also saddened, and like, it's just a horrible thing to watch. So that's kind of what that one's about. There's a lot of layers to it, though. We're going back and doing some more stuff in the States, and then we're coming back to Europe in early June to do Download Festival, and I forgot what it's called, Rock the Park, or Rock on the Park, is that what it's called? And then Rock'em Ring, or Rock, I forget the names now that we're talking about them. But we're playing Paris on June 10th at the Nouveau Casino? Is that right? Okay. I'm already bad remembering things, and now I'm in a different country trying to remember things. I'm loopy, but I guess a lot of creative people are. nice to meet you. Hopefully, we'll see you on June 10th at our show in Paris. We'd love to meet everybody. I think France is pretty badass so far. This is my first time here, but I sense that there's a pretty strong art culture here, which is awesome. So I'm looking forward to playing many shows in France.